Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay, so should we pick up where we left off last time, or do you have some other parts that are up for you that you'd like to get to know?
I guess I'm curious as to where we left off last time, because I don't have clear clarity. So
there was a skeptical protector, and it led us to what may have been like a 3-year-old, and you were experiencing it like a beautiful nebula or a sea anemone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember now.
Do you have any more contact with those parts since we talked?
No, I haven't. We've been away for 3 weeks now, and very kind of hectic and social, and so there's been really not much time to really connect with parts and to connect with those parts that I said I would, and so there's.
I'm glad you're able to make the time now.
Yeah, me too.
It's great.
There are definitely lots of other parts kind of that have a say about that. So I guess I'm going to just be with where I am right now, which is probably the best thing to do.
Great.
And what's happening for me is just a very strong physical sensation in my solar plexus. And this is, it's so familiar. I've lived with it. I feel, as far as I can remember, I've had this knot in my solar plexus, and to varying degrees, but, and it's the part that has had a lot of firefighter response to it, to try to stop it feeling so uncomfortable. So, but, here it is. Here we still are. So I guess there's a curiosity about that, and to see what happens.
Great. Okay.
But before we start, I'm just there's just something I want to, because in a message you said to me, it's a process of subtraction or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was going to write back straight away and ask for more detail about what that meant, but it's just been percolating a little bit. I think, like when in our last session, our last call, there was a part that was coming up that we didn't trust anything, didn't trust
right.
When you say, ask a part a question and it doesn't trust that it just feels like stuff is being made up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I think that what happens is in that when you're asking those questions or in any kind of similar scenario, my mind tries to answer the question. So it's like an addition, if you like. In the context of this subtraction idea, it's an addition.
Sure.
And so I really enjoyed this idea that, no, that doesn't have to happen. And there's something about just letting something come, which is really hard for me, but I'm interested in and curious about. So I just wanted to share that because it's been on my mind, and I think it's really useful. It's really useful for me to think about it in that term of it being a process of subtraction.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm ready.
Is there more you wanted me to elaborate, or do you have questions about that? I mean, it sounds like you're.
I guess no. I think. I mean, if you feel to say something about it, then go for it.
Only that. I mean, subtraction might not be the right word because we're not getting rid of parts, but we're clearing them in order to have, the sun come through the clouds is what I mean. So
it was, it was an interesting word, and it did it was good because it made me think about it, because it was like, oh, what is that? What does that mean? Yeah. And you said about the sun and the clouds, but there's just something really useful about recognizing that I don't have to do this, that it will be done, or something like that. Like I don't have to do IFS. I have to.
You already
I can just
have
let
a self,
be.
Right?
Right.
We all have that. Mm-hmm.
I think that I have this idea of self-like protectors that think they're being self or something, and that they're there. That they then step in and answer the questions.
Right.
And actually, so that it's just recognizing that distinction that actually, oh, okay, is this a self-like protector that's trying to answer the question right, trying to get it right.
Right.
Trying to, so.
Yeah, those can be the trickiest, I think.
Yeah. Yes. And I think the thinking part that that I explored in the first session is masking as self. I've have a lot of identity with, a lot of blending, I think is the word with.
Sure.
And so it's all good stuff to explore.
It is all good. It's all good stuff to explore. It's all normal. And we can welcome all of those parts as they are. Thank them for doing what they do. And get to know any of them.
Yeah. So I'm ready to go forward.
Solar-plexus, the knot.
The knot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You'd mentioned a firefighter responder. So were you saying that there's different parts, other parts act as the firefighters to suppress this?
Yes.
Not okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And how do they feel now about the idea of you going to this other part? How do the firefighters feel?
So it feels that, the sense is that there's an exhaustion of the resources. So what's meant by that is, they've used a lot of drugs and alcohol in the past, and that's not happening anymore. There's still food. Definitely food is an attempt to kind of cover up and conceal, and kind of make full so that there's not that gap. But so there's this sense of like, okay, we've tried everything. It's still there.
Right.
So there's a willingness to see what else can be done.
Okay. So they have some trust for you in this work, and they're willing to give you some space?
I think so, James. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe, I think it's one of the biggest mistakes we can make is pushing past protectors.
Yes.
They've been doing their thing for a long time. They have good reason to do it. And so I would maybe suggest kind of just tuning in, for example, to that protector, that firefighter, that, if it's solving that problem by compelling you to eat more or however that is showing up, see if you can just tune into that first. Maybe even put yourself back in that time and place when you were last experiencing that.
It wants to do the talking. It wants to speak first.
Yeah. How do you feel about letting it speak first?
That feels really appropriate, compassionate to the whole system.
Yeah. Good. I think so. Okay. And how are you feeling now towards that firefighter?
I feel love.
Mm-hmm.
I feel loving and really grateful.
Great.
It's I feel kind of emotional. Feelings of release and relief and and that sense of gratitude.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. See if you can let it know that and just ask it what it wants you to know about itself.
This is the question that I really find hard when I try and work by myself.
You find the question hard when?
Like if I'm trying to do the work by myself.
Yes.
And when I get to this part, that's when lots of thoughts tumble in, lots of thinking happens.
Mm-hmm. Some of the skeptical thinking.
It's almost like just the busyness just drives in.
Yeah. Okay.
And is like going, okay, where's the answer? It's looking for the answer. It's busy, 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 like looking for the answer. Where's the answer? I can find the answer. So there's no allowing of any kind of truth to come.
Yeah.
Bubble up. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's what's happening.
Okay. We'll see if you can ask that part for a little space.
I don't feel like I have enough distance from it to be able to do that.
Okay. Good catch. So what is that part like? How do you notice that part when it comes up?
Always thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Always, busy mind, non-stop thoughts. We did that minute of meditation and it was kind of, meditation was just funny for me because it's just that non-stop dialogue, like a top spinning, just relentless.
Yeah.
And what was your question?
But that was my question. Just what it's like, how it comes up, how you notice it. Mm-hmm. And how are you feeling towards that part?
Oh yeah, I'm overwhelmed. I don't want it to be there. It's too much.
Right.
It's relentless. It's tiring. It's exhausting. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it's just backtrack. It's just, funny. start with the solar plexus, then the next, and just keep going back out.
Yeah.
That's just what you have to do, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
There's
the
another
overwhelm.
part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is the overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
Yeah. See if you can ask that part for space so that you get to know this busy thinking mind part.
Okay, it's willing for me to try.
All right. Thank that part. And you could try asking this busy thinking mind what it wants you to know.
Oh, well, I think it's the one from the first call, and she's a bit pissed off that
Yeah.
I haven't been in touch.
And how do you
That's
respond to that?
I really get that.
Yeah.
I would feel the same way.
Yeah. Okay. You can show her that.
She hears it, but she's still pissed off.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of fearful kind of stuff, fearful parts coming up.
Okay.
Want me to stop doing this, want me to stop this call, this process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, they're welcome. Let's welcome them.
Okay.
And let's hear from them. It's very important that this is safe for you in your system.
Yeah. Yeah. They're really scared.
Are you able to sit and listen with them?
Yeah, there's something important about me saying they're scared rather than I'm scared, and recognizing that they are a part, not me.
Right.
Or parts.
Right. Yeah, you can invite them to notice you as you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're very physical. So they're like, my nervous system feels kind of activated, and everything's a bit buzzy in my arms.
Okay. And are you okay with feeling all that now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, let them know that. And it might help to remind them that you don't have to share anything with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're actually surprised that I'm willing to be okay with them. It's like, usually I want to escape and we'll go into distraction or something else. So they're pleased that I'm willing to try to be with them.
That's great. If it feels right, you can just ask what the fear is about.
They said you got way too close by trying to go to the solar plexus part. And they're also scared of that thinking mind busy part.
Okay.
She's very astute and to the point and relentless in her judgment. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. And so they're concerned if you go to the busy part, you'll be overwhelmed by that, or?
They're just scared of her. I can't get to why.
It's okay.
She's just very sharp. I don't know who they are, these ones that I'm talking to now. Like, they just feel scared of her. They feel like she's big and powerful, and they're not.
Yeah. And she may be big and powerful in your system, and she may push a lot of other parts around.
Yeah.
You can just let them know you see that. You see how she's been hard on them or other parts, or just crowded them out sometimes.
They're all just kind of staring at each other across the room.
Yeah.
Wondering what's going on.
Well, what feels right? Should we get closer to them and learn more about them, or offer them to step out into the waiting room, go to a comfortable place to let you get to know this busy thinking part?
Yeah, they don't want to. They just are happy to just sit back and snuggle up together and see what happens.
Yeah, and I want to thank them for looking out for, again, your safety. And, it sounds like they are very concerned about going too far too fast. And that's great.
Yeah, they sort of trust. They're going to let trust happen in this moment.
Yeah. Okay. So you ready to turn back to the busy thinking mind? The one who's pissed that you haven't been in touch?
Yeah. Yeah, I just had to comfort the scared ones. Were like, hang on. And then I reminded them that I was here. And so that's okay. I think we'll see how we go.
And now how are you feeling towards that busy thinking part?
Honestly, there's still a little hint of fear.
Fear of the sharpness?
Of her fullness, how big she is. It feels very vulnerable to turn towards her. I'm scared of her.
Those
parts are.
Does the scared part, how old does it think you are?
2.
Yeah. So that would make sense if you were 2, to be in the presence of this big, powerful part. That would be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can update the scared part on your real age, again, invite it to notice you. Notice you when you're in self-energy, when you have compassion and curiosity.
James, I'm just struggling a bit to feel self right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to do that.
That's okay. So the dominant feeling is fear more?
It's a bit of a dance, but, I'm kind of, she's there, there's thinking parts there, and then the idea of connecting with her is response to fear responds to that.
Let's ask the busy thinking part to back up a little bit so that you can keep working with the fearful parts.
Okay. Yep.
And we want to learn more about the fear. Just from a place of curiosity. How did the update on the age go?
Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can. I can hear you now.
I was saying, how did the update on the age go?
So what's happening is, I know that update on the age comes from self, but I don't have enough of a feeling of that to be able to authentically do it to this fearful part. I don't know how to explain it other than that.
Okay. You could let the fearful part know that you would like to understand it so you can work with it, and let it know that in order to do that, it's helpful if it steps back, like a camera lens. It needs to have a certain distance to focus. And so you could let it know that how it feels matters to you. And if it will just give a little space, then you'll be able to hear from it better and see how it responds to that.
Okay, it's a little bit sort of surprised, shocked, digesting what I'm saying, digesting that age, change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get anything more than that.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a big update for it. It's a lot to take in.
I'm just asking the not trusting the answers part to just back off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And asking it to just let me carry on working with this fearful part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So what else does the fearful part want you to know?
Well, it really didn't have any idea that I was here until now.
Yeah. Is there some sadness around that? that it has?
No, it's just shocked, surprised at this point.
Okay.
It's kind of like almost that, it's almost in denial, or like in that phase of like, just can't believe it.
Yeah. It's incredible, really, to have that experience with a part.
The part that's thinking that the answers are being made up is really wanting to be present.
Mm-hmm. We can hear from it
Right.
if it feels right.
No, it's just the same thing. It just doesn't believe it. Thinks I'm making it up. So it's just going to keep saying the same thing. It's not particularly useful to keep to hear that.
It depends if it's right. If there's a self-led or a self-like part that is trying to get the right answers, then we would want to know that.
Yeah.
But if you're in self, if you're one way to check is to ask if you're seeing yourself talk to parts, or if you are talking to parts. Is it a first person or a third person experience?
It's me. I know it is. It's this other part really just doesn't, this other part that doesn't believe what's being said has a lot to say in other areas of my life. So it's very familiar.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for it to, it can keep saying, like, I'm not asking it to be quiet.
Right.
I'm just going to put the focus of my attention elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, it's the part that silences in my intuition in my life. It's the part that just doesn't even let intuition in sometimes. So, I'm happy to not to engage with it not in this moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So turning back to the fearful part that's in shock.
Yeah.
I asked earlier if there was some sadness around that. You said no. Is there some joy around it? Is this a happy surprise?
So she's digesting still, but what's happened is she's sitting down on the ground, and there's a sense of relief from duty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you can do for all of them.
Mm. So there's a sort of spent feeling, there's there's the tight wiredness that she's had to embody all this time, and actually it's kind of like in letting that go, there's exhaustion underneath.
Yeah. You can just let her know you see that and you appreciate how hard she's worked.
And she's very young. She's a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can let her know that same way that you're able to connect with her is something that you would love to do with all parts, and just in the way that the fear felt big until you're able to kind of focus on it more and see it really as a child and see all other details about it, that's kind of the ideal. And what happens when you go to other parts. So coming back to the idea of going to the busy thinking part, it's likely that would be the outcome, that you would be able to help it not feel like it needs to work so hard or be so intense.
Not there yet.
Mm-hmm. How are you being with this part? You said it's a child. She.
Yeah. She I mean, she's got, like, she's dressed as, she's got like 70s clothes on. And so she looks like I did when I was that age. And she's just kind of sitting cross-legged and playing with the she's kind of she feels less, she can relax and be a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But your question was how am I being with her?
Yeah, how are you being with her?
Yeah, at this point I was just seeing her like that, with a kind of distance. So I wasn't communicating or engaging.
Mm-hmm. How would it feel to close that distance? And if she's sitting on the floor to sit with her.
Mm. Yeah, it then becomes third person. So then I see somebody sitting with her rather than
Interesting. Okay.
me sitting
Mm-hmm.
next to her.
Mm-hmm. So there's perhaps a concern or a fear about what would happen if you were to do that yourself.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, there's a kind of guarded feeling.
Mm-hmm. What does it want you to know?
Well, it's very nervous because it feels like it's been doing its job for a long time.
Of keeping you from getting close to these parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's its concern if you were to?
That I'd fuck it up, that I'd get it wrong, that I would just do damage.
Yeah. That you do damage to the child part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I get it wrong.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
I've got another part coming in, which is just overwhelmed a bit by the whole thing. It feels like it's too complicated. This whole IFS thing is too complicated. There's too many parts.
Yeah.
There's too many layers. How can you ever heal? How can you ever
I hear you.
change when there's just like so many? There's a part, and then there's another, and then there's another, and then there's another, and it just feels endless.
Yeah, I get it. And if I was in a different state of mind, I too would be feeling that way right now, because yes, we have talked about 8 different parts. I'm in a good place and I'm taking notes, and I feel like I'm not losing the thread, but I do understand that concern. It's a common concern.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts. You're a complex system. Some of the good news is that often there's 10 protectors around one exile. And that the good news is that there's one exile. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that there's just one in people. There are usually multiple. But as you as you meet different protectors, you start to find that they're all really, a lot of them are pointing to the same exile.
Yeah.
And so when you start doing that work of going to exiles and building trust with protectors, suddenly you have this kind of exponential ability to kind of, you see one protector in a way you've kind of seen them all, because you can start saying, okay, I already know what exile to go to. And, you still want to check in with protectors, but they can start trusting that you going there kind of helps all of them. And that's usually the case. So that's one first thing that came to mind about the good news of having lots of parts.
Yeah.
Another is that this might be kind of more of the same, but dynamics are, you'll see the same patterns often. And so it can be the same. It can be these 10 protectors in this exile look a whole lot like these other 10 protectors and this other exile. And you'll start to notice overlap. You'll start to notice, for example, in this conversation, we've met a firefighter, we've met fear, we've met a busy manager and this sharp part. We've met a caretaker. We've met maybe a part that wants to distract, or a part that we met the skeptic. And that does sound like a lot. And if you flip through your IFS textbook, that's most of them. You know what I mean? That's most of the kind of typically identified roles
that make up a system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I'm hearing them from my level of experience, I'm able to see that, okay, that one, yes, they're all different, but I'm able to see, okay, that one fits kind of my paradigm of when I've seen this in myself and other people. And I'm seeing, yeah, we've met, 7 out of 9 of the common ones. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't know if
that's
that
really
was helpful, but yeah.
No, really, really helpful, really useful. I always welcome not feeling like, but all just feeling kind of relatively normal, like, that it's not uncommon.
Super normal.
Yeah. Just that that this pattern, that this is how it looks for lots of others. That's
really
helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anything, I'm encouraged, and like by your ability to traverse and name all of these, to me that's a great sign that you are able to do this work quickly, I would say, and efficiently.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it seems
and
like
so
it seems like so much, but it's also like maybe because you can handle so much, you know what I mean?
And in your experience, and you don't have to say, but just like, do we have, like, are there lots of exiles? Are there 3, are there 50? Obviously everyone's different. Everyone has a different story, but.
So, I would say that what it depends on is usually, I think, the degree of childhood trauma generally. That's the easiest correlate. So if you know your ACE score, if you know how, I think being a child is traumatic, period, for everyone.
Yeah.
Growing up is traumatic. So we all got a couple, but yes.
The higher the ACE, the higher the exiles.
What's that?
The higher the ACE score, the higher the exiles.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. And so, you know, in my experience, in my own system, so if I have a pretty low ACE score, for example, and I would say I've met and unburdened maybe 6 exiles, maybe something like that. Maybe 8. There's so much overlap sometimes.
Yeah.
But if I were to just say, here's a 3-year-old, here's a 5-year-old, here's a 11-year-old, sometimes they are kind of chronological in that way in my system, then yes, there's, you know, less than 10.
And are the protectors the same protectors for those different exiles? Like, are they doing the job of protecting the 3 and the 5 and the 7? Or is it a different bunch of protectors for each age?
And sometimes the 5-year-old's protecting the 3-year-old and the 7-year-old's protecting the 5-year-old.
Oh, so, yeah. Tender.
But, you know, again, that can mean there are fewer, right? So if they're doing double duty, then you get to divide how many you can expect to meet. So there's a lot of overlap, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a really strong answer for, are they always separate protectors for separate exiles?
No, it's, you answered. And it's just really, I find it really useful just to have that, I suppose, you know, it's sort of experiential, but also theoretical knowledge. Just there's something that's in my system that's soothed by that. Like, okay, there's a bit of a framework. Rather than just this like explosion of parts that like spattered against the wall. You know? Like, what do I do? Right. Where do I start?
Yeah. And you could
whole
be
galaxy's worth.
You know, just to put it in a timeline, this could be the most explosion of parts you experience in your journey. If you were to do IFS for the rest of your life, you know, you've had a few sessions, you got your toes wet, then you got up to your waist, and now it feels like, oh God, I might be drowning. And you know, like the next step could be, oh, okay. And it's easier and easier and easier. So I just want to put that out there, and, you know, you're in that part of the learning curve where it's like, could be the hardest part or the most overwhelming.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
And congratulations. I'm envious.
What do you mean?
Oh, I'm kind of teasing, but yeah, just to be in that place, you know, hey, it's exciting.
Okay. I actually feel to stop here.
Great.
It just feels right and kind of safe, and I don't, you know, there's no rush, right?
Absolutely.
And it's not going to be useful to rush and try and push through and, you know, do it all quickly. So
I think you're doing great. And I think the way you're noticing each part, and, you know, yes, it seems like a lot. And I think that's because you're doing a really good job of noticing as they come up.
Well, I mean, of course it's like overwhelming, and it feels like a lot because they've all just been buzzing around in there for decades. So suddenly the attention being turned towards them is going to be very odd for them and all the other parts. So it's okay.
And I've taken some detailed notes. I'm happy to share them with you if you're interested.
That would be great. I think so. All right, James, thank you so much for your time and your work.
I hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, will do.
Have a good day.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. join the Discord server, or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.